Hey, good evening, everybody. My name is Bob. I'm the Rocket City Reseller, and I want to welcome you into the channel. This is Rocket City Reseller Presents Launchpad Reseller Podcast. Whether you've been selling for 20 minutes or 20 years, we are sure there's something we can learn together. We are your mission control for all things reselling. Of course, I could not do this podcast without my trusty co-hosts from the wild, wacky world of whatnot. She Show 244, Ashley. Hello, Ashley. Welcome.
Hello, everybody.
And of course, Tennessee Treasures, that reselling mama who's schooling her children and schooling us in all things toys.
Let's go.
And we would just want to just really quickly introduce our guest. She may be lost in the toy aisle, but she has found all the keys to everybody's heart on whatnot. We want to cordially welcome Lost in the toy aisle. Hello, Lost. How are you? And I think she's frozen and has no mic.
Oh.
And we lost her, just like that. But that's okay. She'll be back, I'm sure.
Yeah. Welcome in, Tiny Toys, Gulf Coast Pickers. What's up? I see y'all in chat.
Hey, what's up?
Let's
Golf
go.
Coast, Tiny Toys. Well, we're waiting for her to go around. We'll go around the horn and ask what everybody's week in reselling was like. For us, it's been slow.
I was going to say, don't pick me first because
it's been slow, y'all.
I think for eBay, sales on whatnot have been like abysmal.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that Fiona's Fines holding it down, man, that kid's got it. She got the stuff.
Just saying. Absolutely.
That's my wife for those that are listening. And for those who are listening on Spotify, we appreciate you guys and all the viewership there, our listening ship, I guess it would be called. And I think we got lost back. I got to give you another intro now.
Wait,
All good.
I'm sorry. My whole web browser just shut down.
Oh, geez.
The StreamYard for you. That's what we use to broadcast this. I was just letting people know that although you may be lost in the toil, you found everybody's heart in regards to whatnot. And we appreciate that. And we're all whatnot sellers. And we'll get to that in just a second. But normally what we do after introductions is we ask you to tell us how you came to reselling, maybe what led you to that particular path. So we'll let you talk about yourself. Well, this is the chance to blow your own horn.
Which I'm actually really bad at, to be honest with you. I'm not very good at talking about myself. I'm good at talking about others and building them up in their momentum. But when it comes to me, I'm a little more hard on myself, right? But I actually started reselling, back maybe 2006, 2007, aging myself there, and on eBay. And I actually kind of grew up not so much with a lot of money in our family. We actually had 4 siblings, including myself. I was actually the eldest. So we were always at thrift stores. In secondhand stores or dealing with like hand-me-downs, right? So just being in the thrift store was normal for me. So when I got older, I had to figure out how to make a second income or kind of just have a source of extra money in my pocket being young and on my own because I moved out when I was 18. So that was very hard. But fast forwarding today, I still actually sell on eBay. I dabbled a little bit in Mercari, and then I also a little bit in Poshmark as well. But now I still have a couple of items listed on eBay, but I'm mostly just selling on whatnot.
Okay. Awesome.
So walk us, well, first of all, your story resonates with all of us, I think.
Yes,
absolutely. I don't think any of us really grew up with a whole lot of anything. And that definitely does lead to the mentality sometimes in reselling, I think, for a lot of people. Once you figure out that you can make a pretty good living doing this, for those who are doing it full-time, know well, and for those of us who are part-time and work a full-time schedule and also do full-time reselling, even though we're part-timers, we also understand that too. So you can make a good living doing this, which is part of the point of this podcast, is to make sure that we give that hope and that shining light to people who might be struggling. So we want to encourage them to become resellers. I know there's been a lot of comments recently on our podcast that this is not for everybody and we should stop saying that. But just I don't think that's necessarily true. I think you don't know until you try, and we should give each other in that regard. And I think that a lot of people could be very good at this. So let's rewind a little bit back to eBay. What for you was the deciding factor for Whatnot, do you think?
Oh gosh. You know, it's funny because when I first started, I was just a buyer. And I'm sure that's probably for yeah. Yeah, so I had no intention on selling at all. And a matter of fact, I actually thought Whatnot was very similar to Poshmark or Mercari or eBay, because the way my friend actually explained it to me was who he actually introduced me to it. He was a Hot Wheels collector. So he immediately downloaded the app because he was looking for a certain Hot Wheel. And he immediately went to the search bar and just started looking for that particular Hot Wheel he was looking for. So I thought that's what it was. And then as I was scrolling through the app, I actually had seen that there was live sellers, but I thought they were just showing the item that was already in the shop that was for sale. And that was it. I didn't actually click on the live selling. I didn't really dig into it just at the beginning, right? So that was in November of 24. And then I want to say it was like January 25, or February of 25. I opened the app again. So I didn't even touch the app again after that. It wasn't pulled in immediately. So, which is very weird, right? So then I think I dipped back into Whatnot after he had told me that they sell more than just Hot Wheels. And I said, what? No way, really? I'm like, okay, let me look at this app a little bit more. And of course, Whatnot immediately was like, this girl likes toys, right? So immediately, as soon as I opened the app, it was just nothing but toy sellers, right? And the first one that popped up was She Sheds, which is crazy. And that was on a Sunday, and it was her one and done toy show. Yeah. And immediately I'm just swiping. Right? And I was just having the time of my life. I loved every minute of it. I thought it was so much fun. At that point, we weren't getting lost with the raids, right? But and then the next thing you know, I think I fell into, I think it was Jamie's Retail Therapy with her seller support show. And that's when it dawned on me that, wait, hold on a second, maybe I could sell items. Maybe I could dabble in this a little bit. Maybe I would actually have a lot of fun doing this. And then I was just asking her 5,000 questions, of course. And she was amazing and answered everything that I was looking for. And I hopped on one day and I just got out of the jitters, and it was my lunch break. And I was sitting at a table and I had a bunch of Happy Meal toys. And I just went live. I wasn't on camera. I just sat at the table and I was instantly hooked and I couldn't stop. I never looked back. So
were you nervous on that first show?
Oh,
like, even though you weren't on camera?
Absolutely. Yeah. Just because I had watched videos, and because they, Whatnot do with those videos as a seller, like what to do and what not to do, etc. So I kind of watched those for a couple of days, I'd say. And then, I hopped on, and I can't even remember. I think it was like $1 claims or $1, because I didn't understand the auction part, like individual listings or the bin items, etc. So it was mostly just claim items, and I was literally selling for just $1. So because again, I grew up not with a lot, with a lot of money. So I knew that if someone else was a collector, or even if they were a reseller, I wanted to be able to give them a good deal, right? That's kind of still my mindset on things. So.
Okay.
That's awesome. So Whatnot is one of those, I guess we'll call it a platform that's very intentional, right? It takes a lot to, maybe has a steeper learning curve, but once you're there, it can be extremely gratifying, lucrative, all the things, right? Walk us through going from the claim shows to where you are now. How did you make that transition? Because I think that's where a lot of people maybe struggle with Whatnot.
Okay.
So
sure.
What did that look like for you? And I know that everybody's story is different, but just curious.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I started, I had to write this down because I have a memory of a goldfish. A lot of my friends know this. um, I started June 20th is the first day that I went live and I sold. June 20th of 2025. So during the month of June, I just did claim shows, and it was a total of 5 shows. That was it. But from June 20th till however many days that is, 9 days, I had 8 shows. I was hooked, or 5 shows, excuse me. I was hooked. And it was instant gratification because there was only one time that I went live and I didn't sell anything. And even at that
Oh,
point, I
wow.
thought, okay, what did I do wrong that I could figure out what I could do better? And that's another topic we can get on as well, because just with my learning curves, I almost become like obsessive with what I could do to be better, right? But we'll get there. And then July came, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna push this a little harder. I'm gonna go live a little bit more. And July came, and again, I still stuck to those $1 shows, $1 claim shows. I didn't because I was trying to figure out, what the niche is. What is it that people are wanting? Where is it that I can immediately get instant gratification for that money, right? And again, it was just Happy Meal toys, either loose or still in the package. That's all I was selling. I wasn't selling anything else. And that was inventory that I already had because I collected them. And it was a point where I was ready to just let go. And they were just sitting in a bin in my storage or my crawl space. And they weren't doing anything, right? So July comes and I ended up doing 23 shows. I was obsessed. I couldn't stop. Yeah. Yeah.
5 shows a week.
Um,
Dang. At least.
Yeah. And I think there was at one point I look back at my shows and I think I even hopped on at like 11:30 at night. I don't know why I did that because that's not something I would normally do, but I really was hooked. August came, I kind of slowed down a little bit. It looks like I only did 10 shows. And then during that time in August, that's when I came across Gabby. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with Gabby's Garage, but she also was a new seller. And I myself was a new seller. And I was trying to figure out, what the hell I wanted to do with me as a seller, right? And I just absolutely adored Gabby. I could see myself in her. We both have ADHD. We have a ton of anxiety. And I could see myself in her when she was selling. And I immediately just gravitated to her. And I took her under my wing and I said, we're going to figure this out together, right? So we did. And I was there for her from almost day one, right? And immediately we just became great friends and we swapped phone numbers with each other and we just really grew together on the app. And I learned a lot from her. And I immediately met Chef. I don't know if you're familiar, Chef Mark Daniels.
I see him in the chat. Hey, Chef.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark.
Yep. So he immediately also took me under his wing and said, why don't you start selling on here a little bit more? Why don't you get in front of the camera? What is it that you're selling here? What is it that what can I do to help you? Where is it that we can grow together, right? And I had a show on a Sunday and it was literally a gallon bag of toys for $5 because I was just trying to build, more people to come into my show. And I was really determined and motivated to just keep hustling and grinding. And he hopped in my show and he started buying a bunch of items for me, just supporting me, right? Because that's what we do. And the next thing you know, he was like, why don't you start actually scheduling shows out? Because at that point I was just doing pop-ups. I wasn't doing anything scheduled. Yeah. And he's like, why don't you actually start doing scheduled shows, kind of similar to, what Gabby's doing, where she goes on, I think she was going on Sundays, just one time a week at the time. And I thought, I didn't really think about that. It never crossed my mind on actually making this like a big deal, right? Like making this almost full time or making a full-time commitment to being a seller and whatnot. Just because I've always just dabbled in, selling on the side. It's never been 100% my main focus, right? And I thought, okay, you know what? Let's go ahead and give it a try. So I actually, again, I started in June and I didn't start taking it serious until September of 2025. And at that point, I went live, but I still was too scared to go on camera, you guys. So still, June from September, I still wasn't on camera. I was still behind camera. And
So you barely started in June of last year?
mhm.
Girl, you're killing it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to.
Absolutely.
I'm like, dang.
I'm doing the math behind the
I
scenes.
know.
My engineering brain is like, okay. So, yeah, go
Okay.
ahead. Keep on going.
So September comes and I do my first show. And at that point, I bought a new camera pad or a phone pad, but I was still uncomfortable going on a camera. So I actually would just walk in front of the camera, just slowly. I'd be like, oh, look at look at this plushie. Okay, I'm off camera. I was just nerve wracking, right? I've never been one to be on camera, which you wouldn't think that knowing me, but now, but yeah. So I started doing that, and Gabby would come into my show. Chef would be there for me, be like, come on, get on camera. You can do it. You can do it. And then finally, I'm like, fine, I'm gonna go on camera, and I did, and I just haven't looked back since. So.
It gets easier, right, after a couple of shows?
Yeah, it was still very nerve-wracking. I still would, like I said, I would just walk in front of the camera, or I would show the item, or I'd be goofy or silly right in front of the camera, but then I'd be immediately off the camera because I'd be like, oh my God, let's really do that. So,
Yeah.
But I learned, I want to say it was, well, that was September. I want to say it was like mid-October. So along with Chef, I can keep going if you want me to.
Yeah, please.
So along with Chef, he introduced me to Bearded Thrifter, which I don't know if you're familiar with Bearded Thrifter. He's very, very, very large in the reselling
even me,
business.
SpongeBob's friend Patrick that lives under a rock knows Bearded Thrifter.
Yeah, right.
I don't know many people, but I do know that.
Same. I can be Gary.
So he was like, yeah, you're Gary. He's like, yeah, you haven't done the Bearded show? And I said, his name sounds really familiar. And come to find out, I had followed him on Facebook for years, and it just didn't click right away until I had went into his live, and I realized, oh my gosh, that's actually the Bearded Thrifter. I know this guy, through social media. And immediately I just became not necessarily obsessed, but just really became fully engaged in the selling side of whatnot. I just was really impressed with the way that he carried himself. And he was himself. He was authentic. He was real. He was raw. And people loved it. And I thought, okay, well, maybe I need to figure out how to be raw and authentic and stop being scared and worried about what other people think about me, right? And along came Jag. Jag Resale. I don't know if you guys know her either, but
oh yeah, we're watching silently.
Oh.
I try to come in y'all's show as much as I can, but it's hard. The corporate world.
Actually, I don't think I've been in Jag's show ever, but I follow on Facebook. So
okay.
I follow her.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think that was mid or late October, maybe early November that I met Jag. So this is all very new and recent to me. And I immediately just fell in love with who she was as a person, because she's off to a core. And I've never met anybody like that before. So I just fell in love with her. And
and that's what I was going to say is it becomes like when I'm with you, when I first went on Whatnot, I was like, what is this thing? And then I started getting into shows. Right. It's a community. It really is a community.
It is.
You have people that you're like, I've never seen you face to face, but oh my gosh, like that connection, even though you're not face to face, haven't touched, seen with sight, you form these amazing relationships.
Right.
And it's like
and
on an app, really?
Right. You wouldn't think that, but you do. Yes. And it's so funny because Jag was never on camera at that time. She was always behind the camera. And that was more of like a corporate thing, and she was more just behind camera, and that's just the way it was. That's just who she was. And I totally understood that because I sat behind the camera for months. But along with that, she's just so funny. She's so funny. And she just always makes us laugh, right? So along with that, she introduced me to Emily, and Emily actually ended up becoming my moderator. She introduced me because she kept saying in her show, if you guys need a moderator, she's a great moderator. And I thought, I don't know why, but it took me a couple of her shows for me to realize, like, ding, oh my gosh, I need a moderator. Like, I need a solid moderator, right? And then she immediately jumped in right away, and we became best friends, right? So, and then I want to say, so let me see. So November was 12 shows. So I only did 12 shows in November. And then in December, I did 11 shows. So in total, I did 80. I did 80 shows in 2025. And I'm like, where did 2025 go? How did I even do that?
From June to December, 80 shows from June to December.
Yeah.
What that math
Yeah.
looks like, it's a lot.
So has there been a reunion?
Has there been a what?
A reunion with any of you? Have you guys ever met face to face yet, or when is that coming?
No, there's yeah. So there's conversation that we're supposed to. Well, Chef is supposed to be doing some traveling, and he was talking about going into Indiana and meeting up with like Bearded and Gabby. And then I thought, well, maybe that's my opportunity to go up there and meet everybody too, So we might just, do a little bit of a meet and greet there and hang out. We were talking about thrifting together, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, can you imagine all of us together thrifting? That would be a riot.
It's fun.
Like,
it's fun. We've done it.
It would be who's fighting for what is what it's going to be, or it's going to be, okay, you can have that, or, oh, look over there.
Yeah.
I've had the pleasure of thrifting with Tennessee Treasures. I'm in Alabama, North Alabama. She's in the Nashville area, so we're not very far from each other. And we actually see each other quite often and get the chance to thrift. I highly recommend doing that if you get a chance. And we've built a community and a relationship through Whatnot. Gulf Coast Pickers, who's in chat, was probably the first to welcome us warmly into the community and be a partner with us. And we had that same relationship. So I definitely understand where you're coming from regarding the community and how that happens. And we have actually met them, the Nashville Reseller Meetup. If anybody gets a chance to do a reseller meetup, I totally highly recommend that. Just expand your network, do all the things, and meet like-minded folks that are business oriented and that nature. Highly recommend that. So just so many people that we've met through this community. My wife is running off, I think in May. She's going up to see Mama Cat Thrifter in Minnesota.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So we travel thrift a lot, and we have an opportunity to do that, and we're very blessed to do that. We love meeting like-minded people and friends that we've met along the way here. So
definitely game changer to find people who do the same thing as you or are trying to do the same thing as you. Like, Bob, has it been close to 4 years now?
Almost 4 years. Yeah, almost 4 years that we've known each other.
And about a year before I think we've met in person, but nobody understands the crazy that is reselling like another reseller.
Unless
you just
another
can't
reseller,
get that
exactly.
connection. Yeah.
I've said this before. It's like even your most intimate people in your circle, in your day-to-day real life, we'll call it, quote unquote, real life, don't understand and will not support you like a complete stranger that's 2,000 miles away could possibly understand you. And that to me, every time I think about that, is a mind blower, right?
Yeah.
It's like, this person, we are so similar in a lot of ways. I'm genuinely attracted to that person because of those reasons, like you mentioned, about Gabby, about Jag, about Chef, all those people, and building that community. That leads me to my next question. The community that is Gherkin Nation. Why don't you explain to everybody what that is?
So Gherkin Nation actually originated with Jag. She's got a silly story that comes along with it, and that's a story that she could probably share, but it's silly and goofy. I would love Jag to be on the podcast, by the way. Jag.
Hey, listen, we just got her on camera and whatnot.
Yeah, right.
I know, right? Yeah, so Gherkin Nation is actually just really is just a group of sellers and friends who truly support each other, right? And lift each other up. You know, we run raid trains, which that was something new we just started in January. But we mod for each other, we help support each other, we lift each other up. We're just there for each other. And we even, you know, we talk almost every single day through group text or messages or, you know, voicing or calling, etc. But Gherkin Nation is just really about supporting other sellers and building a really strong community to be able to grow together, build one another. Because again, we rewind a little bit and we think about what it was like at the very beginning and how you're on the app and you don't know what the hell you're doing, right? You're trying to figure it out.
Sure, yeah.
But Gherkin Nation truly, it's really just a focus on being there for, you know, new supporters or new sellers, excuse me, and really just and growing and evolving together and building the community.
So let's give some context to this thing, because there's some people that are coming in like, what the hell are you talking about, Bob? Gherkin Nation? What the hell does that mean?
First of all,
let's go ahead and give this thing some context, especially for those on Spotify. It's like, what the hell is going on right now? But so basically, the idea behind this, and correct me if I'm wrong, there's something called BDE, Big Deal Energy. I'm guessing that we're going to keep it PG. Big Deal Energy. And that's like a pickle type of thing. And I'm assuming somewhere along the way, Jag has a lot of pickles. That's what I'm assuming. Those are all assumptions.
Yes. Yeah.
I had to.
You know, it's so fun. Oh, did you?
Gherkin. I'm like, what the heck is gherkin? What is
gherkin.
that?
Oh yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know. Yeah, I had no clue. I was like, oh.
You know, it's funny because people have told us that before. They're like, what the heck is gherkin? What is that? I've never heard of it. It's pickle.
Oh, okay. Now we're talking.
Specialty pickle, right? It's a little specialty pickle.
Yeah.
It's like
It's funny because I actually am obsessed with pickles, and maybe that's why I gravitated to it. I don't know why. But I literally will eat like 4 or 5 pickles a day because I literally love them.
They have complete festivals for that, you know, here in the South. I'm sure Chef can attest to that they have, you know, people show up for that type of thing. So that's interesting that you've chosen that avenue. I don't think it matters what you call yourselves. It's about the community and the collective mindset, the hive mindset, better, stronger together type of thing, which is part of the reason why we started this podcast, to create a network of resellers to be able to lift each other up. And that's what the community on Facebook's about too. So we're coming live on Facebook, by the way, for the first time. Loss, just so you know. I'll call you Loss if that's okay.
Yeah,
we're actually live on Facebook.
Yeah.
We're actually live on Facebook for the first time, and we want to make sure that we are true to our nature, and we are trying to do something that you seldom see done anymore. Rising through community, rising through collective mindset, rising through the reseller's reseller approach. I think that's important to be able to lift each other up in that way. So we appreciate you coming on and being a part of that and bringing your community with you in that regards. And it's a testament to your character that your community showed up for you, everybody in the Gherkin Nations right now in chat. And that says a lot about you as a reseller, I think, and also as a genuine authoritative source in the plush and toy community. And if you haven't been told yet, welcome to that community. We were here before. You'll be here after, I'm sure. I'll just teasing, but I think the plush and toy community is an interesting category within Whatnot. It's a very competitive, very saturated community. So it's very important for us to be able to, I don't want to say play nicely. That's not the right word, but be able to be a community in that space and be able to uplift each other. And that's why when I come in someone's show, I always boost them or do something, because I may not need what you have, because obviously we have a lot of toys. If you guys are watching the YouTube channel, you've seen this thing's like It's like, I don't know how many we have now. I think we're up to 7,800 listings or something like that on eBay. But yeah, so we just want to thank you for doing that and be a part of the community and doing all the things that come with that. So I wanted to warmly
Absolutely.
Whatnot community, because I don't know if we've ever done that. So just know that you have a space here, and also that you have the backing and the power of that. And know that we love working in partnership with like-minded resellers. So I know that you've been a part of the Gulf Coast raid train for plush and toys, the longest plush and toy raid train on Whatnot. Christine and Ryan are resellers, and always try to include new resellers into the mix and always highlight and showcase that and welcome them into community. So that in itself right there is a huge like accomplishment in my mind. They did that for us when we first started, and it's helped us grow tremendously, both myself and my wife, and also She Shed.
I think that's how we
Tennessee.
I think that's how we met each other, was through Gulf Coast, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I wasn't tracking, quite honestly. When I say that I'm Patrick under the rock, I'm not kidding. Sometimes I miss completely the mark when it comes to the new stuff, because I got a lot going on. But when I do finally find out what's going on behind the scenes, I tend to try to celebrate that when I can and recognize what it is, all the hard work, because Whatnot is hard work. For those who have never tried it, I challenge you, try Whatnot for at least a year, and then come back and let's have a conversation. You'll have a different perspective whatsoever on Whatnot, because it is all the things like my wife always says. You have to show it, you have to clean it, show it, sell it, ship it, customer service it, whatever the case is, all within like 2 days.
Yeah.
It's not like eBay where you can crockpot set it, forget it. Definitely not that.
Yeah, and I think that's a really great topic to kind of bring up a little bit is, behind the scenes, you're on eBay, right? And you're not live selling. Your face is not on camera. Your voice is not being heard. It is just a listing. But behind the scenes, you're working your butt off, right? And you're taking photos, and you're getting the right angle, and you're making sure there's no shadows, and you're making sure you have the right lighting. But Whatnot is totally a different. Oh my goodness, it's so different. It's so different. And I feel like, because you are on camera, and I'm not saying that it's not important on eBay, because it is, but it's more important, I feel like, when you're live selling, to be incredibly detailed with what you're showing as a product. But on top of that, not only are you trying to be the best that you can be with showing that product, but you're also trying to multitask 5,000 other things that are going on at the same time, which is interacting with chat, making sure you're showing the product in the most detailed possible way that you can. And then you're also getting raids coming in at the same time. Oh my goodness. And you're having to shout out the people that you're raiding.
Yeah, chat is just scrolling by, and you're trying to keep up, and it's all you can do, even with mods. Like, you have great mods. And even with great mods, it's hard to do all things. I can't tell you, we've been doing it for January, we passed 2 years, and it's just 8,000 sold, and what a blessing. And it, things happen along the way, and grow, change, iterate, continue, move on. I put actually, little known fact, I actually put my Whatnot on pause. I think I've made I've actually put it on pause because my corporate day-to-day life is changing, so I need to focus on that for a little bit. So
let's talk about that a little bit. Work-life balance.
Yeah, work-life balance. That's what I was leading to. You're so smart.
I stole your thunder. I'm sorry.
We've been friends way too long. She knows my stuff.
Yes. Definitely.
So let's talk about it. Let's talk about Raquel, the corporate leader or whatever. I'm not even sure what you do for a living. If you want to talk about that, or if you want to, like, how far you want to go.
Yeah, sure. What's really wild is that I think between the time frame of COVID and the time frame to now, I've had 4 different positions.
Wow.
Just with COVID and the layoffs and then the restructuring and the layoffs and then the hiring and then the layoffs. I finally found a great company to work for. And then unfortunately it's been acquired. And that happened almost within like 3 months of me getting this position. And I had no clue that this was taking place. And it's just been absolutely hectic behind the scenes. Thankfully, I work from home with that capability of learning the position and the job itself. But I actually have been with the job a little over a year now. And it's very daunting, even working from home. And it's just, it's almost to the point where I just don't want to do it anymore, right? I want to just be a full-time reseller and whatnot. I really do. So, but my husband, he supports me in everything that I do. And he told me, if this is something that I want to do and make it full-time, I can. But for myself, I want to see what I can do within a year before I make that decision, right? So I'm going to stay within the corporate role for the whole year and then just kind of see where things go within the next year and then make that decision. Thankfully, with me working from home, I do get that opportunity sometimes to be able to do the pop-ups during my lunch break, which is amazing to be able to do that. But there was at one point when I was working, 15-hour days when we were working overtime, it was mandatory. And I didn't have that opportunity to be able to jump onto whatnot and such. So, but now I'm knock on wood, things are starting to get a little bit better, but yeah, so that's my goal. My ultimate goal is to be able to, become a full-time reseller on whatnot. Just because I love everything about it,
How many hours do you think that whatnot takes from you every week? Just to give someone like that's may not be tracking what that actually looks like. So that they're thinking about whatnot and also working a full-time job. So give them an idea what that might look like.
That's a really great question because my life has changed drastically since being on whatnot. Just because I've made the connections and the networking with others. Technically, the only nights that I have off from whatnot or the days that I have off from whatnot, that's between modding and selling and working full-time are Wednesdays and Saturdays. I'm on Monday, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Sundays. And it's incredibly time consuming. It's almost as if I'm working 2 full-time jobs. It's sometimes it can be mentally draining. And then there are days when I'm physically exhausted just from between selling and then also my job, every day and such. But yeah, it's almost like I'm working 80 hours a week, it feels like,
Yeah, absolutely.
The good part of this is the good news story. I don't want to discourage people from selling on whatnot. That's not the point of the question.
Yeah.
The point is the question is try to make it realistic, right? Into expectations, because setting a good expectation helps a long way, for someone that's making that decision. But the point is just to show that, those hours don't feel like those hours when you're passionate about something. And we've talked about this a million times on this podcast. When you're passionate about and you have a purpose for something, this hours just slide away. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, but that's just the reality of being passionate, right? So we can get lost in a lot of things. You can get lost in a toil. You can get lost in your art if you're an artist, whatever the case may be. But I think that finding your passion and your purpose and maybe making a little bit on the side doesn't hurt. So how financially is it impacting you and your family? You've talked about not having a lot growing up. What are the financial implications of whatnot for you and reselling in general? What's that look like?
Right now, like I said, I really just started at, those $1 starts and stuff, and things have been drastically. There was one day, I think that's when it all changed for me, is that I decided, you know what, I'm going to go live on a Saturday morning and I'm going to see how long I can stay and see how much I can make. And for me, it was a lot. For others that have been selling on whatnot for a long time, they're going to be like, oh, that's nothing, right? But for me, it was a lot. I went live for 8 hours and I made over $1,000. And that was the first time I'd ever made over $1,000 selling anything live selling, right? And then as soon as I did that, I grew a huge following. I made a lot of connections and I had networked, my butt off, and things have just been growing drastically since. And I feel like every single show that I go live, I learn from, right? And even if it's not a financial gain, every show, it's the connections and the networking that I know eventually I will get there, right? And I continue to keep pushing towards the, my goal of, like I said, being able to sell full time on Whatnot by the end of the year. There was a show that I had also, and then I went from 8 hours in a show, right, making $1,000 my first time ever. I think that was in September. I think it was in September. That's when I really, really became hooked, and I thought, oh my gosh, I could really make a lot of money on this app. Now, I was only making, $100, $200, $200, $300 every time I was going live just for folks, which is great. But when I made that $1,000, that's when it was like, it really had clicked with me that, if I just kept at it and I kept pushing, I could really make something out of this. But there was a show recently, I would say in the last month or two, I think it was, I went live for an hour and I made over $1,000. And that was something that I was really, really proud of.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely something to be proud of, because that's the power of a live auction. Once you do put the work in and you build that following, that's what comes next. A lot of times is those moments of like realization where you could potentially make, sky's the limit regarding, you see, there's a bunch of people that have been on Whatnot for a while and they're making $500,000 to $1 million. We just had Cam Life on last week. Yeah. I think, right? Last week.
Yep.
Where he's within 2 years of being on Whatnot, he's at $1 million. So
goals.
He started 5 years ago selling a toy for $2.99, or a game. I think it was a game for $2.99, and built that over 5 years to $1 million in sales. So you are only limited by your thought, right? So just know that if you have set a goal and you are hell-bent and determined to do it, know that you can do it. You just got to believe it. Yeah, sometimes you have to put the cart before the horse, believe it before you see it. So it sounds like that's what you're doing. All chips in on Whatnot, or are you still on eBay?
I'm dabbling in eBay. There's been times when I found a couple of plush that I know have a lot of value. I could still throw it on my Whatnot show, and there's times that I do. I'll throw it on. So to be honest with you, what I'll do is I know that there's a solid flip in a plush that I have. I will list it on eBay, and I'll keep it for 2 weeks. If it doesn't move on eBay, I throw it on Whatnot.
That's fair. I mean, that's great that you have that mindset where a lot of us are collectors and sometimes put too much emotion in reselling, and we become attached to our items, and that's the fear, right? I have this problem myself. I know that I can get more on eBay, and I always struggle with myself. I'm more of a slow dime type. I prefer the static over live reselling. My wife is the opposite. She prefers the fast nickel and just move through it, because we can find this stuff. And we're really blessed with the sourcing that we have, that we can find this stuff all the time. So we're always in opposition of each other, but in a good way, right? We keep each other grounded in a lot of ways, but that's just one example. So of for us what the challenge is. And I appreciate your mindset in regards to being able to take it to eBay for 2 weeks and move it, because that's smart business.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Because sometimes I feel like, well, that's not very fair to my followers. Sometimes I'm just like, well, I know that they're looking for this particular item, and I hate that I'm not throwing it, on my Whatnot show, but let me just give it my, my wallet a little bit of a push to see if I can get a little bit more out of it.
If you can't help them, if you can't help yourself, right? It's the old adage, put your mask on first before you can help somebody. They tell you at the airport, right, when you're sitting on the plane, make sure you put your mask on first, because you're not going to be able to help anybody else. It's kind of the same thought process here, right? You need to take care of your family and your needs first, before you can take care of your Whatnot family. And I think your Whatnot family appreciates you even more for that, because you are taking care of yourself, right? Because they care about you. They want you to, and they want you to take care of yourself. So I think Ellie had a question. Go ahead, Ellie.
I was just going to say, I definitely think it's more difficult to let go of that item when you know the value. You know that that's a $300 plush or something, right? Crazy. And it's like, can I maybe get 50? Can I maybe get 100 on Whatnot? Or should I go try to list this for more? I've been sitting on a doll. I was telling Ashley before the show, before you guys popped in, I've been sitting on a doll for probably 2 years now. This doll can range anywhere from $200 to $1,000. Mine is nude, so it'll be lower end. But one sold last year, maybe a year and a half ago, I think in the $400 range with chewed up legs.
Oh, wow.
She's sitting in my death pile somewhere. Part of that is because I didn't have eBay back. I just got eBay back this past December, and now I don't know. I'm not sure exactly where she's at. So once I find her, now I need to list her. But I have been so hesitant to bring that doll to Whatnot because
I'm with you, and that's mine. Is I think that's a smart idea to static list it, see if it'll go in 2 weeks. If not, because I play that game with some things that, and once again, it goes back to it's the sentimental, like it's the stuff I grew up with that it's like, oh, I can't let it go. I just want to, I don't need it, and it's like, how long? And that's where I think we're all kind of at certain points. How long do you hold on to it before you just let it go? And I think that's super smart way to get rid of it. I'm at that mode now. Like, let it go.
If I could be more like Cam Life, I'd probably be a millionaire already, quite honestly.
Seriously. Need that mentality.
He has no investment whatsoever in regards to fashion, which is a breath of fresh air that he sells so well on Whatnot and is so successful without the passion. That's a mind blower for me.
Yeah, he's a very direct, just I'm here to make money type of guy.
He's a businessman, and I can respect that. At the end of the day, that's just for me, plush with purpose and passion, because you're selling an emotion, which is why I enjoy that particular avenue of reselling. Can tell you how many times we get love notes from people. That's what we call them. This item was a childhood favorite. You've healed my inner child. All the things, right? That for me is more important than money. Quite honestly, Absolutely. When I get those over the holidays, I read a letter from a viewer, or not a viewer, but someone that bought from us on, I think it's either eBay or Etsy, about what the toy meant to them, and they actually took the time to write a handwritten letter and mail it to me, explaining how that felt. And that was a fuel enough in those times where you're just like second guessing yourself, right? Am I doing the right thing? Those are the moments. And I think that is a very, very impactful thing. Do you get those types of messages from folks?
I feel like I have a couple of times. Again, I have a memory of a goldfish, so I should remember those things. I'm sorry, but
what's this?
I'll be honest. Yeah, I know it's funny because I had my show Friday night, and there was a plush that I kind of was holding on to, and it was almost because it was just it was more tied to just me being part of the Gherkin Nation, right? And it was a Squishmallow, but it was a pickle, and I had won it from another Gherkin member, and I was going to hold on to it for a little bit just as like a display in the toy aisle, and I had forgot I had left it in the shelf, and someone immediately spotted it, and they said, "Is that for sale?" And I thought to myself, do I let it go? Do I sell it? Do I let it go? Do I sell it? And I said, Raquel, you don't need it. Let it go. And I did, and I ended up selling it. And I told the story, and I told that story actually as I was selling it, and it's funny because I think I had bought it from another Gherkin for like $5 or $6, and I think I sold it for $26. And I think it was because of the story that I had put behind it, right?
Yeah.
So that's another interesting mindset on certain things, right? And then there was another.
Yeah.
What was that? I'm sorry.
I was just saying provenance of a sale, right? The story behind why it means something is sometimes more important than the actual item. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. No. It's okay. It's okay. And along the conversation too, I forgot, we were talking about eBay and if I sell on eBay. I started recently getting into Bratz dolls, and Yeah, I love brats. I started to really like them. I have a fellow friend that I met through Whatnot, and he was looking for brats for me, and I had got a bunch of brats from him, and he gave me a really, really great deal, and I had to just Google image them.
Oh, I
And I had
know.
to learn
When
what
you do it, you're like, oh.
And I thought to
Battle.
myself, oh my gosh, I can't keep these. I can't. I need to keep them. No, I'm like, no. I'm like, you're a reseller. You're a reseller. You have to let them go. Love them, enjoy them for at least a month, and then list them. So that's like kind of my motto now, right? Hold on to that item that you want and you love and you really sought after for at least a month or two max, and then let it go. So just to say that I've had that item, I owned it, I had it, that was part of my collection, and now it can be someone else's collection. So that's something I'm learning. So that's kind of my take on learning to love something and then to let it go.
Okay. I'm going to take some of that energy, bring it my way so I can be like, yes, let it go. Let it go.
Intervention.
Yeah. I guess we have a
Look at
problem.
intervention all of a sudden.
First step is admitting you have a problem. Absolutely.
I don't have a problem. I swear I don't.
Look at you back there.
This
See, I
is all
don't
my
really
wife.
collect
Mostly.
anything,
Some of it's mine.
so I can't relate. But like Grace, because if you like it, just keep it. Okay, I guess I do for my kids, right? If my kids like something, keep it, take it.
Well, that's what brings people back to resellers like us, right? Is that refound, or they're trying to chase back. Not so much the thing, I think, is a time and place when things were easier, right? I think so, a lot of times what it is, it represents not just the thing, it represents the emotion, but possibly the person that gave it to them, possibly a moment in time where things were easier for them. So a lot of times I think it's more so about that. So when I tell people I don't sell things, I sell emotions, they're like, the hell are you talking about, you hippie dippy? But it's true. You sell that type of thing, and that's what makes toys, I think, the category of toys, and then we'll throw stuffed animals in there, that much more impactful. And that's why people a lot of times will buy wants over needs because of that. And that's important, especially in downturns of economy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that actually,
go ahead.
Sorry. Oh, no, I was just going to say that actually kind of brings me to the reason why I chose Lost in the Toy Aisle. It's just that feeling of being a child and standing in the toy aisle, being 3, 4, 5 years old, 6 years old, and you're just amazed and you're just looking around and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I want every single toy. And your mom's screaming for you and you hear her, screaming for you and you're like, and then it dawns on you and you're like, wait, where am I? And you're lost in the toy aisle because you're just so mesmerized by the toys that you're just being surrounded by. And it happens to all of us, right? And that's the feeling of being lost in nostalgia and memories and capturing that moment in time, right? So
yeah, definitely. And speaking of being lost in the toy aisle, now's your chance, Lost in the Toy Aisle, where we do this thing on our podcast where we have you call out another reseller that you would like to see on Launchpad Reseller Podcast, Lost in the Toy Aisle. Who would you like to see on Launchpad Reseller Podcast?
I would like to see Jag Resale.
Resale.
Chef Mark Daniels.
And Chef Mark Daniels?
Oh yeah, I want both of them down here.
I don't think the internet's ready. So I'm going to say Jag Resell and Chef Mark Daniels, you've been called out on Launchpad Reseller Podcast. What say you? Uh-oh.
Wow.
Are they in there? Are they in the chat?
Oh yeah.
I don't know if they're still
yeah, they were earlier. So
I was going to say
we're going to stitch this back later, and we'll be sure to get their response. Normally what we do, or we try to do, is if the person agrees to be on the podcast, we try to stitch together. We did it for Stephanie Fusen and also Cosmic Deal Heather. Stephanie called out Cosmic Deal Heather, and they were kind enough to play behind the scenes and do that. We put it on YouTube, and it's got pretty good views on that thing. So we're pretty proud of that. It's something that I've never seen done on a YouTube channel. So I think that's really great. So we usually talk about future date self. How are you being kind to your future date self? What are you doing now that's going to help you later?
Oh, that's a good question. I think maybe just learning when to say no. I am having a hard time trying to. I'm only one person, right? And I'm having a really hard time learning when to say no to help my friends in the community when they're needed, right? I see Jag's on.
Jag said she's in, by the way.
Jag said she's in.
She's in.
Yeah.
Awesome.
She's in.
That was another big deal. Oh my goodness, I'm so proud of my girlfriend. She so she stayed behind the camera the entire time, and then she went live, first time ever in front of the camera.
Yeah,
and now
I saw that.
Yeah, and now she's live selling on camera. So I'm very proud of her. So I'm like, now is the time to get on this podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
So for
future,
our
pleasure.
Yeah.
Let's
Awesome.
go. Yeah, let's go back because that's important. Let's stay on track here. Future self, you're learning to say no. Which is good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, I'm learning. It's very difficult for me because I am just so community driven, and I really want to support every single person that's in Gherkin Nation. There's been instances and times where I just see a seller that's in need, so I will help if they, if they're needing moderation, right, for their shows and stuff. But it's really just learning when to just say no. I absolutely love moderating when I'm able to, right? But I also have to remember that I'm just one person, right? And I also have a personal life that I have to take care of, right? So that's just something that I'm learning on and trying to figure out.
And I was going to say, I'm with you too, because that's what I had to start doing. I had to start taking a step back because I was like, I try to be in everybody's show. And then I was like, you got to take that step back because it started becoming, oh crud, so-and-so's on, so-and-so, oh, where do I go? And it's like, I don't know. So yeah, I'm with you. It's a struggle, and you got to learn when to say no, because you got to take that time for yourself too. And be it, if you're just resting, whatever it is, you have to take that time for yourself. Otherwise, burnout is real.
And I ended up getting burnout towards the end of the year, maybe even the beginning of January. And I had to, there was like a couple weeks that I ended up taking off because I was mentally drained. That's kind of where I got. So I had to kind of and then that was another thing too. I had to reevaluate how I was running my shows. And it was almost as if I felt like I was a vending machine, right? I was going live and I was getting requests back to back, which is wonderful. I am so appreciative of it. But by the end of the night, I had almost like 5,000 steps in. And I'm thinking to myself, I've got to do something different because this is not normal. This is not normal. So I ended up going live, I want to say it was like mid-February. And I turned it into FOMO Fridays. So I go live now and I have a set area in the toy aisle where I already have items that I'm going to run for that night. So that way I'm just in one spot all night and I'm just grabbing things from the shelf that people can see. And that was more just like the growing pains of trying to figure things out on what works best for me. And then I will just open up the toy aisle one time out of the month, which means this is behind me. I will go live. And I ended up going live Friday, and I opened up the toy aisle, and I did like 5,000 steps again, but yeah, I just do it once a month now instead of every single time I go live.
Yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot. It's mine, and I'm looking at, and I think your viewers and everyone else sees it too. You have a whole wall, and I'm like, yeah, they're picking and choosing, but then that wall comes down because I know you've had. I can't remember the while back you did a whole plush blowout within 2 days. You were bare. It was like the before, after everything, and just the restocking and getting it back up to what it's. But it's a lot that goes into that. So yeah, you gotta.
That's true.
You can't keep doing it at that level. You can't keep doing it all the time. Yeah.
You know, it's funny that you say that too, because I did. I had a huge plush blowout because at that point I had stagnant inventory. It wasn't moving. It was kind of leftovers that were picked through. And at that point I said, okay, $2 starts. Let's clear this entire shelf. And I did. I cleared it all out and I stayed live until I sold the last item. And I sold it out, I think, within 3 hours, which was great. It was fantastic. But then I thought I had enough inventory to fill the shelves because I had all this sitting outside the toy aisle. So I started bringing all the items in and I started filling the shelves and I said, oh crap. I don't have enough crap. I don't have enough inventory to fill the shelves. And I said, oh my gosh, I have to go sourcing, which who doesn't want to go sourcing, right? But
I know,
it
right?
gave me enough reason to go sourcing more. But so yeah, just like this last month, I've just been sourcing like a mad woman, just trying to build my inventory back up. So
would you say that Whatnot inventory is probably the hardest part of Whatnot? Finding the things that I think you've dubbed yourself the home of the $3 start. If I'm incorrect, please correct me. How do you keep your prices so low and also mitigate the expense of that? We don't have to talk about where you source because I would never ask another reseller that, but how do you strategize or rationalize that? And how do you make that make sense for those that may not understand that business model?
Well, that's a great question. Like I said, at the very beginning, I started at just $1 claims, and for my mindset was to focus more on those that don't have a larger budget. They can't afford the finer things in life, or they can't afford a $20 plush. My mindset was to focus more on who can actually swipe and afford a $3 plush, regardless if I got it for $3. It's the fact that I was able to find that treasure for them for the price that they could afford it. There's some times when I break even, and that's okay, because that's just part of what I'm learning and I'm growing from, because I make up for it on other things, right? Like I said, there was that plush that I paid for $5 for it, but I ended up going for 26. Yeah, was that a gamble? Absolutely. Everything's a gamble on Whatnot, in my opinion. And that's just kind of just the part of understanding what you're comfortable with as, a business owner. Absolutely. It's tough when you buy something for $5 and it goes for $3. Absolutely. But then, like I said, it makes up for other things when things are going for a higher valued item.
Do you find that your friends and family that are not resellers have a hard time rationalizing or coming to grips with your lifestyle and reselling? Because I think a lot of us have that. Maybe.
Yeah.
No, you don't have that?
No. To be honest with you, I'm actually a very private person. A lot of people don't know that I do this. And a matter of fact, I actually just recently shared on my personal Facebook page that I was doing this, but I didn't even share to them, where I was selling or how I was selling or what podcast I was being on. Again, I'm a very, very private person. I barely, and it's funny because my business page, I got monetized and I immediately just dove right into that. And I never looked back at my personal Facebook page. And it had been months since I even had logged into that, right? Because at that point, I'm like, why would I post there if I can post here and make money, right? So I don't even know really, and it's terrible, but there's so many things that are going on outside of me that I don't even know what's going on because I'm so busy with what's going on with Whatnot and such.
Yeah, I was just curious because a lot of people, there's condemnation and there's judgment in regards to reselling. There's a stigma sometimes attached to it. I was just curious what your experience was with that, and that's great that you don't have that and you're able to keep it separated to that extent. I think that's fantastic. And maybe that is the way forward. Just try to, for those that can, keep it separate. For those that can't, just know that stop caring what people think is the answer.
It took me a long time. It took me a long time to get here. And it comes with my friends from Whatnot, growing Chef, Emily, and Jag. I've always been under the radar kind of person, just keep to myself, kind of an outsider. No one understood my craziness and my silliness and my goofiness. And they thought I was a weirdo, which maybe I am. I don't know, but
you're perfect for Whatnot.
Yeah, for Whatnot, it's fantastic. Absolutely, yes. And I think that's why I've grown so much to love Whatnot in the community.
Who doesn't love a dancing pickle? Look at Harry Tornado. He's doing great. Josh has got it all together. He's got it figured out. When can we expect the soap line from you? That's what I want to.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh my God. I think that's great that Josh and Haley have that kind of success where they can bring their YouTube following to Whatnot and sell things like silly like soap and make money. Good for them. They worked hard towards it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were talking the other day offline, Ellie and myself, about consumables and how that looks in merch and all this stuff. And when can I get a Gherkin Nation t-shirt? That's what I really want to know.
That's a great question for Jag. I think she actually is working on merch.
Nice.
So that might be around the corner very soon. Very soon. I know I wanted to do something similar. I know I started making magnets just kind of on the side a little bit, and it's gonna have my logo and such. But yeah, Gherkin Nation hoodies, absolutely. How fun would that be? Or t-shirts or sweatshirts, absolutely. That'd be a lot of fun.
Definitely. It's hard to believe. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Ellie.
It's hard for me to believe that you're so, or that you started off so shy, I guess, because you are like a light when you're on. And I think the first time that I saw you was in one of the raid trains too. I think I raided into you, and then you just lit up the room, and I'm like, wow, this girl is on fire, right? Like, so that's so fun, and it's. I don't have it. I have to let my product speak for itself. So it's refreshing. So I want you to know that you are fun to watch and
thank you.
Like a breath of fresh air, right? Because
thanks.
Not everybody's got that. So
that's interesting because I went into someone's show, I don't know, maybe like a month or so ago, and they were talking about, oh my gosh, Lesson Toil, she's here, oh my gosh, I love you. And I wish I could be like you. You have such a big personality, but not me. I'm more quiet and reserved. And to me, I'm just kind of thinking, wait, I have a big personality. I literally asked myself that. I said, I have a big personality. No way, do I really? And of course I do. Of course I do. But I've never realized that I've had it. I've even had this within me my whole life. And it's so silly because, when I was younger, my nickname was Funny Girl. It's so silly. But, back then I accepted it because I was silly and I was goofy. And again, that's why I kind of was like an outsider, or I just didn't fit in, whatever. But now it makes sense because I finally found something I'm truly passionate about, right? So I feel like I can come out again and truly be myself. And the community has really accepted me for who I am.
I love that.
So thank you.
Yeah.
So social media is an important part of reselling lately, especially with Whatnot. It's a combination of social media and also reselling. How are you growing your social media? Where are you? Where can people find you? All the things.
Yeah. So I'm currently on Facebook. I'm be honest with you, I was doing really, really good there, but it is a lot of work to keep up with content creation. It is so much work on top of whatnotting and modding and corporate life. And then I just recently created an Instagram account. I'm having difficulties with trying to figure that out on top of posting at the same time on Facebook. I'm trying to figure that out. I did create a YouTube account, but again, what am I going to post on there? I have to figure that out as well. And then I'm also on TikTok.
Nice. So automatically my mind goes right to what Ellie does in regards to broadcasting her Whatnot lives to YouTube. That would be my first suggestion. They have the integration to do both Facebook and YouTube to broadcast your lives to YouTube. So if you're struggling to get started, I would suggest doing that right away. Because I think once you realize, and this is kind of interesting because I went back through Ellie's content. It was looking at some of her past lives, and she was just having so many people respond to her on YouTube while she was on Whatnot. And she's had like thousands of viewership through that. And
it's very up and down. It's up and down.
It is a roller coaster.
But when they're there, they're there. And you're like, who are these people? I will say though, it's tough to watch your Whatnot show live and then also watch your YouTube stream live and kind of track both. Maybe that's why I fell off, because I kind of stopped doing that.
Yeah, that is difficult. The other thing that you do that I want to talk about really quickly is the fact that you self-record. Genius, by the way. You record your Whatnot lives
I do.
to be able to watch back. Let's talk about that a little bit. I won't go into the details. I'll let you explain what you're doing and why that might matter. So you want to talk about that a bit?
Yeah, you know, it's funny because I'm actually self-recording right now. and it's because I have ADHD, right? And I have really bad anxiety. So what I'm learning is that the best thing I can do to continue to grow based on the show that I just had is to screen record the show that I was live on another phone. And then that allows me to be able to rewatch myself live as if I was watching the show as a buyer. And then it also allows me to read the comments that I missed from the show when I was live, so that it allows me to hone in what I needed to work on or what I needed to fix or how I could be better the next time I go live. And I really, really, really pick apart those shows. And I take little notes and I try to figure out, I missed this person's comment. What can I do to make sure that I don't do that again? Or, I learned, quickly that you can slow the chat down. But for me, I thought, well, I don't want to slow the chat down because I don't want, people to not interact with me. But I learned that that's how I sell the best, is being able to really read the chat. So if I have to slow the chat down, I'm going to do it. And it's just to benefit me as a seller. And people understand that, I think. And I've also learned that also helps my friends that I mod for, because they also want to be able to interact and read the chat as well for them when they are live. So yes, screen recording is huge. It has really, really, I think, helped me a lot to get to where I'm at today.
Yeah.
As a content creator myself, newly minted, by the way. I haven't been doing it very long. My YouTube channel, we just passed our 2-year birthday, but quite honestly, we didn't start pushing social media until the beginning of this year. So we've grown quite a bit. And one of the things I took away from you, I've learned from you, is that the self-reflection, recording, and trying to be better about understanding myself, to be able to understand what I'm doing and how I'm portraying myself in the light in which I do that. So just know that you've influenced me in that way. So,
Love to hear that. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Glad to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah, and this is the part where we normally open things up for questions. Before I do that, though, I'm going to open it up to Ashley. Ashley is a huge fan of yours, and I know that you're a huge fan of hers. Ashley, now's your chance to ask all your burning questions.
Well, I think she answered most of my burning questions. It's just, I think
what is that burning feeling?
I know, right? Mine is, for me, I just remember you in One and Done, and I'm like, come on, when you coming? When you coming? When you coming? And then you're like, okay, I'm ready. I was like, all right, let's go. And then just to see and everything else, mine is the growth, everything. From different, like, preloading. I know that is not your thing. And you're like, look at me. I preloaded. I was like, yes, you did. I already saw. I was like, girl,
Sure did.
So you have grown exponentially, but mine is just, I think yes, bow down. But yes, that was mine. Because I say that because mine is, I can't remember, but it was in one of the shows, and you're like, you're what got me into loving Whatnot was me. And I was like, are you serious? Like, really? And like, to my core, I was like, okay, yes, and that's what I try to do in the community, is help people grow. Help them grow exponentially, be it message me, what do you have issues with, that sort of thing type deal. Because put it blank, I think Bob had brought up earlier, but I think his wife, Amanda, Fiona Fines, has said it better. There's enough people, there's a room in the toy and plush category for everyone. It's not, hey, I have a monopoly. It's, hey, there's room for all of us to fit in here and work together as a community.
Yeah.
So. Absolutely.
Yeah, sourcing looks different in a lot of different ways, and we bring different items and different personalities, and some people may love um, you giving it hard in a pickle suit with a microphone, and some people may love that, not that, or whatever that looks like. I'm not sure exactly, because Whatnot to me is a show. I prefer the dancing pickle approach, because that is entertainment, and people want to be entertained and also buy things, in my opinion. Now, not everybody feels that way, especially.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That actually brings me the reason why we actually dressed up as the pickle originally, it was an idea that Chef and I had because we knew that Jag's birthday was around the corner and we were
Oh,
part of the
fantastic.
part of the Gherkin Raid Train, and it was our
Perfect.
first time on the Gherkin Raid Train. And we thought, okay, we have to spice it up a notch, right? So we got the pickle costumes, and he had shipped it to me because it was after Halloween. So we're like, okay, we got to take advantage of these sales. We got to go find these pickle costumes. And yeah, so he had shipped the pickle costume to me, and then the rest is just history. And every now and then we'll bring it out as like a special appearance or a guest appearance.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah.
fantastic. I personally think that that's the way. It's meant to be a show, meant to be entertaining. Some call it the hey there, ho there, and don't like that type of thing, and just want to keep it to the product and the right price and the right person and all that stuff. But I think you have to try to stand out and be different on Whatnot, because there's too many options, and people have a 10-second. You have about a 10-second window, maybe not even that. Maybe it might be 3-second window to grab someone's attention to be able to buy your item, and that's not a lot. Those 3-second views on Facebook, I think we all as content creators that slaps, right? That trying to grab someone's attention in that 3 seconds and get engagement, and that's
There's
hard to
something
do.
to the costumes, though, for sure. I think Kara Tornado might have said, "I guarantee if you put on a costume, you will make sales." Something similar to that. So definitely.
Yeah. They even dress up their dogs sometimes.
I don't know if I've seen that. That's funny.
Yeah, I think they had some outfits for them. Do you have animals, Lost?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I've got 3 boxers. Yeah. 3 big dogs. Yeah. Yep.
Reselling static reselling could be lonely too. That's a difference between Whatnot and eBay. I think eBay is a very lonely platform. I think Ruth Ann, Four Seasons Picker, mentioned that when she was on, that can tend to be that way, and that's why she prefers Whatnot, because it is a community. It is a social media platform. It's all the things, and it could be less so lonely, and you can still make a living doing it, which is interesting.
That's very true, because there's, you have your followers, the people that, don't want to miss your show every Friday, and that you don't know what they're gonna, what's Raquel gonna be like tonight, or what is she gonna be dressed up as, on Friday, or what is she gonna bring? And that's another thing too, is that I started doing like specialty buyers giveaways, just kind of bring in just like that appreciation for those who buy from me. But I do recognize names that come in every Friday night when I go live, and I make sure to shout them out, and I recognize them. Then I'll ask them how they are. Or I know there is a situation too, where there's a guy that buys from me regularly, and he's been there since day one, and he won a gift card giveaway the first time I started doing gift card giveaways, and immediately his daughter was excited because she got a chance to be able to go to Starbucks and go get a little frappe. But he sent me a photo of her with getting her her coffee at Starbucks. But I just thought that was the sweetest thing, and it's just like those types of things that I'm just like, okay, what I'm doing is pretty cool, and I'm glad I'm able to be a part of that. So
yeah, that's definitely fuel for the fire, I think.
It really is.
This is normally the part of the show where we open things up. I mentioned earlier, and I wanted to give it to the host first before I open it up to the chat. And if you have a question for Lost in the Toil, Raquel, now's your chance to get those questions in. Don't be shy. We'd love to hear back from you. And while we're waiting for that, let's talk about future stuff. What's short-term goal for you while we wait for some of these questions? Short-term goal, is it just strictly Whatnot? What's that look like?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to definitely stick to Whatnot. Absolutely. I've learned that throughout the week that I don't have to constantly be on a performance. I have a lot of social anxiety, which is really silly to think about, but I do. So for me, getting on camera, sometimes that can be it can be triggering. So I'm learning that it's okay to still sell, but not be on camera, right? So I'm trying to allow my followers to understand that, and they're starting to learn it, and they're starting to grasp the understanding of it. So I started selling on my table throughout the week, and I just do random pop-ups, and it's been amazing for me. I forget how amazingly, like, how fun that is for me, just to be able to focus on the product and actually be able to read the chat at the same time. And I can do multiple items at the same time versus just one individual item when I'm live. So that's really cool for me. So that's a short-term goal, is to try to do that every other day, is to just kind of do some pop-ups throughout the week, and then still focus on just like one main show that I have on my Friday nights and be on camera. So that's pretty cool for me to be able to do that.
Yeah. So Gulf Coast Pickers, Christine, I'm assuming Ryan doesn't usually come in these. I'm just kidding, Ryan. I'm just giving him a hard time. We have this back and forth where we tell you we're never in each other's shows. But anyways, so Christine, Gulf Coast Picker, says she does face-to-face and no face. So she agrees with you that is definitely important. And for those very reasons, I'm sure very similar in regards to the energy it takes.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that's a persona, face-to-face? Or would you say that's your genuine, authentic self? Or is it a combination in order to generate sales? That's a tough question.
That is a tough question. I don't know. It works best for me, I guess, with my personality, because it allows me to realize that not only I'm great on camera, but it's also allowing me to know that my product is still good regardless if I'm off camera. So
Yeah.
but I'm really great at selling the product as well. So and what's really cool too is that sometimes I don't know the product that I have, and it's really neat for the person on the other end to tell me, hey, that's Star Wars, or that's something from the 80s that I wasn't familiar with, and then that teaches me something which I really enjoy learning from others about.
Okay.
Same.
Thank
I was
you.
gonna say.
Appreciate that transparency. That's important, because what I see a lot of times in regards to reselling is sometimes someone will put up a persona and unfortunately burn out really, really quickly because of that. And not that you're doing that. I was just curious what your take on that might be. So we have a question from Diane Corcoran. For those that are listening on Spotify, love your shows. You are a big part of what inspired me to take that step to go live and start selling on Whatnot. So not so much a question, more so a statement. Know that you're making a difference in Diane's life. So that's important.
Love that.
So,
Diane is actually a sweetheart. She's actually Chef's sister.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. And you know her very well.
Yeah, she actually started selling. I think it was late winter last year, and it was so sweet because she actually went live on Chef's show selling his product to see how she would do, and she knocked it out of the park, right? So we were all excited, for her to be able to start selling on her own, and she did, and she's doing amazing. She's such a rock star. But she modded for me for a little bit.
Genetics.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, absolutely. The whole Daniels family is amazing. Absolutely. I'm so blessed to have all of them in my life. They're so motivating and inspiring. They do so much for everybody. Absolutely.
So I have a question in perspective of what would be like a new seller, like Diane. Looking back at the people that you looked up to when you started selling, what is your advice to now the people who are looking up to you as their light to start this, journey?
You are going to learn something new every single day. Right when you think you know something, you don't. Don't be so hard on yourself. It's okay to make mistakes. We all learn. That's how we grow, right? I was taught something very, very, and it's so silly, but I was taught something very, very early on. I think it was like 5th grade. And it was failure leads to success. And that means you can make as many damn mistakes as you possibly can. But as long as you are learning from them, that is growth. So, so just take that, take that in and understand that not everybody knows what they're doing at the beginning. We all don't. But as long as you have the right type of people around you that will support you and guide you, you really can go far.
Great advice.
So yeah, we talk about growth a lot on this podcast. It's one of our missions this year for 2026 with the launch of this podcast. The point is to grow not only as a community, but grow as a podcast and also grow within reseller community and have other resellers that are looking for that mindset and be able to become aware of them in the community, etc. So the growth engine for us is super important, and growth is painful. So what I'm hearing you say is when you feel that pain, know that you're doing it right. So we've said it a million times, and I think you just said it really, really well, that's part of it. So when you're scared to death, when you're going to hit that button on live, know that means you're doing that thing right. So you're expanding, you're growing, it's all the things. So.
Absolutely.
Here's another question. For those listening, Jag Resell says, Lost, you have had so much growth over the last year. What are you most proud of?
I'm proud of the connections that I made in the community, and knowing that I can accomplish anything that I set my mind to. So although I never had any intention ever to be honest with you, I never had any intention on going live on camera ever. I was just going to be on my table and just continue to sell my toys, right? And please don't feel like you have to go on camera. It's entirely whatever you're comfortable with, right? But for me, I really felt like I could connect on the best level that I possibly can with selling my product with being on camera, because people could actually see the face to the name and to the name to the voice, right? So I'm very, very proud of where I'm at versus where I started. So, and it's just a journey, and I'm just going to continue to keep growing. I know I am. So the sky's the limit, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
You're limited to your own thinking is really what it, or even your own belief set. That's why the spoken word is so powerful. So when you're giving yourself your daily affirmation, make sure you're saying that stuff out loud because that has power, I think. Whatever you believe in existentially, just know that when you say something out loud, you're almost willing the universe to comply.
Manifesting is real.
Manifesting is real. Correct. There's a question in chat. There we go. We have Gulf Coast Pickers 941 says, what was the item you got the most bids on? Ooh.
I think that was item? Yeah, I think that was actually the most recent. The Nostalgia Raid Train that I'm actually a part of this Thursday with Miss Shished and Tennessee Treasures. I'll actually be reading it to you. That is one of my favorite. Yes, my favorite.
Hands down, my favorite too.
Besides, of course, the Gherkin Raid Trains. I absolutely adore the ones that we host. But the Nostalgia Raid Train, literally, it makes me feel like I'm a kid again. And I absolutely adore that because I'm able to talk about the things that I absolutely loved and the things that I couldn't get or afford when I was a child, right? And the fact that I'm able to do it at an affordable start allows me to be able to really connect, I think. But with that said, last month I had a little Lizzie McGuire plush, and I think she was like 8 inches tall. And I never Google imaged it, never. And it sat in the toy aisle for months. And I had it sitting with my personal collection. And I just had it there because she was cute and I love Lizzie McGuire. I mean, I absolutely adore Lizzie McGuire. And I thought, you know what? It's time to let it go. It's time to let it go. It's been sitting there. I did a huge deep clean in the toy aisle. I reorganized things. I moved things around. And I said, you know what? She's been here for a while and it's time to let her go. So I did a pre-bid I did a bin item. So I added her as a pre-bid, and I didn't realize the value, but it ended up going for $100 and I think what was it, $115 or a little. It was tiny, a little 8-inch Lizzie McGuire, but I had no idea that it was the value of that. So that was pretty exciting to learn that.
I don't think I would have let that one go. I love Lizzie McGuire. We have another question. Okay, Mama Boom Boom says, hey girl, I'm so happy for you. Congratulations on this big step. You are incredible. Question for you, what is the biggest mistake that you have seen new resellers make and how can they avoid it?
I think that's going to come down to, well, for me, that's two things. Not being prepared before you go live with having a listing and it's just zero, right? And you go live and you think everything's ready to go and there's nothing in your shop, right? And then you're immediately thinking, oh my goodness, I'm live. I can't sell anything. What do I do? Right? So it's making sure you're fully prepared and you're ready before you go live. Did you watch your videos? Did you go to Whatnot? Did you go to seller support? Did you reach out to other community members either on Facebook or join different groups and learn like the best thing that you can do as a seller when you're new, right? Because I think I did that when I first started. I think I went to go live with just those, and it was just the claim, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But it was the fact that there wasn't a listing there. And then I had to figure out how to make a listing while I was live and I didn't know what I was doing. So that really pulled people away from just staying in the show. They left because they were like, well, I'm not going to stick around for, $5 if this girl can't figure out how to, to figure out the listing. Right. So that's important. Right. Another thing I struggled with, well, there's actually two more things. Another thing, and that's actually how I felt, in a really great friendship with Jag. She had seller support shows too. And I came across her show and she was just so raw and authentic. And I remember her mentioning giveaways and how she made mistakes at the very beginning and what she did to learn from it. And I had just started doing giveaways in my show. Well, I selected the wrong profile shipping settings and it ended up costing me $5 per giveaway. Okay. Mm-hmm. I did, I think like 10 giveaways. Okay. And as a new seller, between the cost of the giveaway versus the product, I didn't make anything. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? I can't keep giving away giveaways. Like is this really costing me $5 per giveaway? And I immediately reached out to Jag and I said, Jag, this is what happened. Here's the screenshots. I don't know what I'm doing. And she said, reach out to Whatnot support, explain to them, what happened and see if they'll assist you with some type of adjustments. And I fought tooth and nail for like 2 weeks. I let them sit there because I'm like, I am not going to keep, and I shipped them, but I just kept them sitting there because I refused to accept the fact that I was going to pay $5 per giveaway. Right. So I fought back and forth with Whatnot for quite some time. And then finally they gave me the adjustments, but it was with patience and perseverance. I was like, I'm not paying this. I'm not doing it. So that's another thing. So when it comes to giveaways, just make sure that you're doing the 1 ounce sticker selection. And of course, make sure your giveaway is within that 1 ounce. So that way you're not paying the $5, for a Ground Advantage label. You're paying for just the standard, the mailing label for the USPS.
So while we're on the subject of that, before we switch gears, because there's a lot of wisdom coming out of this question. The House of Nostalgia 90 says, what was it that changed? I think what the fix is there's something called plain white envelope that Whatnot has for things like cards and stickers. Mm-hmm. What you do on Whatnot is if you're going to give away a sticker, there's an option in your giveaway to select sticker. And also you have to set up your shipping for 0 to 1 ounces. I think it has to be first class mail turned on inside there. Those two are basically the key to that type of giveaway. So without that first class shipping being turned on and that 0 to 1 ounces sticker being the option, you're always going to pay more than what you should for that type of item. So you just got to be careful because the post office is starting to crack down. If you do not use a plain white envelope, if you're using anything other than that, a manila envelope, they're starting to charge back folks. It's been all over social media on Facebook. It's been on a lot of different reseller content. Just know that it's meant to be, like an envelope you would send a letter in.
Yep.
So.
I thought that I read I'll have to look into this. I thought that I read that it could be up to like an 8 by 6 by 8 envelope.
Yeah, so that's the rub because we just had this conversation with our postal carrier, and they actually brought out this little contraption where they size letters. She took it out from behind the desk, and it had this little slot, and she's like, "Yeah, so if it fits through here, then you should be okay." But some postmasters or postal workers are so particular about that. There's one particular gentleman in our local post office. If it's not a plain white envelope, he will not take that type of item. So just know that that is possible depending on where that's going in the world. So they could get charged back or postage due, I guess, in this case.
Interesting. I know I read about it has to be like lick seal or sticker seal, whatever, rather than clasps. Like you can't have clasps in it. But
yeah, it's called PWE. So yeah, it's a whole thing right now. And I think maybe the success of Whatnot, it might be driving that a bit because we're seeing it. They're probably seeing an uptick in that type of post. And a lot of that stuff will get sent through a sorting machine for those that don't know. I won't get too nerdy on you. But in order to sort that stuff, it needs to be of a certain diameter, right? So it's getting jammed and, it's causing all kinds of issues. But that's the engineering behind it. Yeah. So hopefully that answers your all's questions. But Mama Boom Boom had a follow-up.
Yeah, I was going to say she had another question.
Ashley's going to read this one.
Mama Boom Boom said she had one more question. What's the most surprising or exciting thing that's happened while selling on Whatnot?
Ooh, that's a good question.
There was a moment when I was live selling and I was just very new to being on camera. And it was one of my Friday night shows and I was feeling defeated. I felt like no matter how many items I kept showing on camera, nothing was moving, nothing was selling. And I kept thinking to myself, what am I doing wrong? And I kept getting in my head as I was live. And can't do that because it's just a downfall, right? And I thought I was doing terrible, but I still was cutting up with with the people that were in the chat and my friends, and they were still there for me. But at that moment in time, I felt like I wasn't doing very good. But the next thing I know, I had people tipping me. And I thought to myself, why am I getting tips? I'm not doing very good right now. Why are they tipping me? But it was just kind of that moment in time to kind of remind myself that I am doing good. It's just not a good night, And it wasn't just like a $1 tip or a $5 tip. It was one of my friends now. They tipped me 20 and I thought, oh my gosh, that was amazing. And then someone tipped me 5 and I thought, oh my gosh, people giving me free money, like they work hard for this money. This is crazy. And then the next thing you know, the tips just kept coming. And then somebody tipped me $50. And I thought to myself, holy cow, someone just tipped me $50. And I kind of stopped in my tracks and I'm like, okay, don't cry, because I'm such an emotional. I'm very, very emotional. I'm a very sensitive, and I would say that I'm emotionally intelligent is what I would call myself. But that's what I told myself. So I had to go off camera because I couldn't compose myself, and I did. I started crying, and I'm like, okay, get myself together. And I came back onto the camera and I said, I'm sorry. I said, I'm crying. I apologize. I said, I didn't expect that. I really appreciate you guys so much. You're amazing. Thank you so much. I felt like, I wasn't doing very good. And then they tipped me another 50. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I really the waterworks just really started going, because I'm just like, really, is that really happening right now? So I think that was a moment in time that made me realize that even if I feel like I'm not doing good, just push through it. Because although I might not feel like I'm doing good, the other people on the other end, they don't need to know that that's how you're feeling, but just push through it. Everybody has a bad night. Not every time you go live, you're going to sell something, right? It's literally a gamble. But that was really kind of reassuring and rewarding, I guess, in that moment in time. And it's just something that I'll always remember.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we appreciate you answering all those questions. We try to be as respectful with time as we can during these podcasts. We're getting near the end of the podcast, and we're going to go around the room and final thoughts. We'll go ahead and start with Ashley. Final thoughts for this episode with Lawson and Toya.
Well, my final thoughts is thank you so much for coming. Appreciate you, the honesty, the realness, everything. And then on top of that, happy early birthday.
Thank you.
Friday.
Yeah.
Friday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
What about Ellie? Ellie, Tennessee Treasures, also on Whatnot, for those that don't know.
Hey, same. Thank you for coming on. I have only been watching you for a short amount of time, and your growth is amazing and your content is amazing. You have provided a lot of insight today, and I hope that people walk away kind of inspired because you gave a lot of great advice tonight. And I agree wholeheartedly with everything that you said. Especially for new sellers, hang in there. It's not always perfect, and remember that progress is better than perfection. Baby steps are still steps.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And also, we're going to give you a chance to speak to your community, Lost in the Toil. Raquel, now's your chance. Look right in the camera, and I want you to be as heartfelt as you can, and I want you without crying.
Okay.
No, there's no crying in
Come on.
I just want you to give one last shout out to your community on Whatnot, and also that they've been supporting you along the way.
Okay. Well, I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I'm still figuring things out along this incredible, amazing journey. But if there's one thing that I've learned from this entire journey, it's that when you surround yourself with the right people, you're capable of way more than you think. Hashtag Gherkin Nation.
There you go.
Love that.
And then you have it. Be sure to make sure you're following Lost in the Toil on all the social media avenues. I believe she is branded across all those, Instagram, Facebook, it sounds like YouTube, and also Whatnot. Did I say Whatnot? I think I got them all. But I also want to remind you of one more important thing. If you can't be good at it. We'll catch you on the next episode of Launchpad Reseller Podcast. Hey, stay tuned next week, Monday at 8 p.m. You're going to want to see She Shed 244 break down the intermediate guide to Whatnot.
Oh,
you won't want to miss that one.
That's good.
All right, guys. Hang tight, Lost. We got one more question for you.